It is being recorded, I believe. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let's get started. Thank you everyone for joining. This will be our first regular meeting. So we'll roll call. It looks like everyone is in attendance. Is there any disclosure of interest this evening? Okay, say none. Confirmation of agenda. Has anyone had a chance to review and see if there's anything you'd like to add? Any concerns? Okay. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that? Please. Maybe not. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that, for the confirmation of agenda?
Sorry, that the Aylmer Police Services Board approves the September 9th, 2020 agenda as presented.
Okay, can I, Bill, seconder? Pete, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And adoption of the minutes. So this will be 3 sets, June 9th, June 16th, and June 14th and August 4th. Has everyone had a chance to review any issues or concerns? None. Okay. Do you have a resolution for that, Bobby? Please?
Yes, that the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the June 9th, June 16th, July 14th, and August 4th minutes as written.
Okay, and could I get a mover? Toby, seconder, Bill, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. There are no delegations this evening, so we will move into unfinished business. The first item is Malahide Police costing, and we are still awaiting the response from Malahide for that. Was there any other discussion on that? Yeah.
Yeah, through Madam Chair, we did have a Zoom meeting with the committee that they put together to study the proposal, both from the OPP and us. And that went pretty well in terms of they just want some they wanted some clarifying points on the some of the topics and some of the service delivery methods and strategy that both services were going to deliver if they continued with OPP or if they switched over to Aylmer Police Service, including the costs over the period of 10 years. The OPP did not have a breakdown of the costs moving forward, only this year. And same thing with some of the statistics. You know, we were able to provide them with the actual statistics that we do for Aylmer Police Service, and Nick did like a chart of all calls for service that they would have in Malahide. And certainly they were pretty much bang on in terms of what we do in comparison to what our responsibility would be if Malahide was to come on board. So it went pretty well, I thought. Nick, you can chime in if you want and add anything you want to it. And what they're asking us to do now is I responded to them in terms of the public meeting where further discussions will take place, and both Nick and I will attend that sometime late September or early October are the dates. They gave us an option of a number of dates that would work for them. So I responded to that, and we'll once they set the date for it, we'll let you know and go from there. So it is moving forward, but at a relatively slow pace, and I understand that. It's a pretty contentious issue when you're talking about switching police services. It's a contentious issue in the community, and certainly we'll do whatever we need to do in order to ensure that whichever way we go, we remain professional on our responses, and that it doesn't become an issue where one service is pitted against the other service. That's not my intent. They asked for a costing. We provided a costing, and certainly any questions relative to operation or administration, I'm more than happy to answer, but we're not going to get into a, which service is better or which service would give them a better, whatever they're looking for. So my position is I'll respond to what we can deliver, and certainly acting detachment commander Mike Butler is representing the OPP on the issue.
Oh. Did you have anything to add to that, Nick?
Yeah, no, I think the chief explained everything there. It was good to have a face-to-face with the ad hoc council that they have there. And it's a lot easier to answer questions directly than emails back and forth. So I think it was a good format to go through and a good exercise to go through for us.
Good. That's great. Okay. Anybody have any questions, concerns, anything you want to ask? No? Thanks for the update. So we'll move on to Police Services Board policies. We are still waiting for the ministry to provide more information on that. So we will leave that in unfinished. New business, any new business to discuss? All right, so we can move into reports. Did you want me to share my screen so you can see the reports up if I do that? Is that easier? Okay. Yeah. Oh, hopefully my dog's gonna start barking. Oh, sorry. Just hold on. Hold on.
Is that for the dogs?
No, she's still muted.
Sorry. Too much going on in this house. Okay. Can you not see that?
No.
Nope.
Jeez. Just a second. Hold on. Sorry. I just got to minimize everything or else it's not going to show properly. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, that's why. Okay. Okay, so okay. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep.
Good?
Yep.
Yep.
Just a second. Just gonna make sure I'm not I'm off Wi-Fi here. Could everyone that that isn't going to be talking, if you could just mute your phones, please. That's good. That's better. Okay, we can see this. For some reason, it's like doing something really weird. Oh my God. Sorry, guys. Just let me get caught up here. Okay. This is the first report. Am I in the right spot?
Yes, you are, Madam Chair.
Okay.
So through you, Madam Chair, if you actually just scroll down to the bottom of that page where it talks about the actual percentages for the end of August. Yeah, right there. So basically where we're at is that from the policing on the operational and administrative side, we're at 59%, which puts us in really good shape. We're about 11% under our budget. And when we combine that into our police services board budget, which is obviously over by quite a bit, but again, at $20,000 budget per year, it's not a significant amount that it caused me that would cause me any concerns. So when we combine the police budget with the PSB budget, we're at 60% spent, and that's to the end of August of this year. And again, that puts us in a really good shape. Some of the things that will impact us moving forward from now until the end of the year, I was just talking to our IT support. We do have to, the system that we have for our backup is, it's very dated and certainly way beyond its life expectancy. Bottom line is we only have about a window. If something was to happen and we needed to go back to our data system to retrieve any information, we're only looking at about a 5 to 6 day window of recovery time, which is not good. We should be at around 30-day recovery time frame. So I am pricing backup system for the office. And right now, that is going to cost us about $11,000. There's an option to lease for a period of 5 years. But when you compare the two, the lease versus purchase, it's certainly much more efficient, or it's much more efficient if we go by way of buying versus the leasing option. It would save us over a period of 5 years. That would save us about $5,000-6,000. The lease option is around 18, and the buy option is at 11,000. So that's a difference of 7,000 over a course of 5 years. So my position on that would be that we'll purchase the backup equipment, and I'll certainly share that with you at the next meeting. I am looking at one more provider for the backup system, and once I get in touch with them and get a quote from them, I'll be able to decide which way we're going to go on it. In addition to that, Nick just informed me we have to purchase some ammunition. That's going to run us at about $3,000 to $4,000 for ammo. We do have to continue on with use of force training to get everybody qualified on the pistol. And that's just a regular expense. But given the numbers that we have right now, we're in really good shape. And certainly my projection is by the time we finish the year, we'll be definitely under budget. So that's my report in terms of the police services board and also the police budget, unless somebody has any specific questions. The legal fees really is what killed us this year on the PSB side, just because of some of the legal opinions we had to get. One of them being COVID. So I've talked to Jenny at the county, and we're going to cost that back to the COVID-19 expenses just because of the Church of God incident that we had there, and the legal opinion we needed there that cost us quite a bit of money. Any questions on that at all? If there are no questions, I'll continue on into the quarterly report for our June, July, and August stats. Crime Stoppers, nothing really significant to report year to date. We only had one in August, nothing for June and July. DVI high risk meetings. I attended 1 in June, 2 in July, 1 in August, for a total of 7, which is consistent to last year. Community events, 34 versus 38 from last year to this year. A lot of those involve escorts, like a funeral escorts, and then some of the other community events, which obviously this year have been really hampered with the COVID-19 situation. Foot patrol hours, good response by the officers for all 3 months. We had 33 hours for June, 41.5 hours in July, and 34 hours in August. And that brings us very close to what we had last year. And again, with the suspension due to COVID, we're in really good shape there. Same thing with park patrols. Actually, our park patrols, because some of the incidents that we had with the COVID-19 situation, we had to do a better response to making sure that people stay out of the parks. And we also had some damage that was done. In fact, we have a focused patrol on the go right now for the damage that was done to some of the park equipment. So so far we had 19 park patrols versus 7 last year, so that's more than double. And officers are doing a good job checking the parks to make sure that it stays relatively damage-free. Criminal charges, 6 adults were charged this month, 4 in July and 5 in June, for a total of 56 charges, or 56 adults charged year to date. And just for the month of August, we had 21 criminal code charges that were distributed amongst those adults for various offenses. So again, good work being done by the officers on the crimes against persons and also crimes against property. Some were related to frauds, others were damage to property, and also theft under. Drug investigations, nothing significant there. We didn't have any in June. We had 2 in July. Both have been solved. And again, a lot of those have to do with the fact that the new legislation relative to marijuana and readily available when operating a motor vehicle. I would say majority of those charges are related to that. Nick's in charge of CISO, and he did have 1 meeting in June. And year to date, he's been involved with 2 meetings. No public complaints for all 3 months, which is good. 911 calls, not too bad. So far, year to date, we have 91. We had 14 in June, 13 in July, and 11 in August, for a total of 91 in comparison to last year when we had 127. So there is a reduction there. In terms of OPP, public and ambulance assist, again, pretty consistent across the board. 28 of those calls were in June, 31 in July, and 38 in August, for a total of 205, slightly below what we had last year. Sexual assaults, we had 0 in June, 2 in July, 1 in August, for a total of 6 for the year and 77.7% cleared. Again, slightly above the clearance rate of last year, and some of those are still ongoing, and we're still looking into investigations into some of the other ones. Violent crime rates, we had 5 incidents, and that basically pertains to crimes against persons, which can include assault, assault with a weapon, sexual assault, and those kind of things. 5 incidents in August, 4 have been solved for a clearance rate of 80%. And total for the year is 34 incidents, 21 have been solved for a 61.8% clearance rate. Again, that's slightly down in comparison to last year in terms of the types of those types of crime rates. We had 34 this year, 46 last year at this time. So that's a good news story, because always those are the ones that really impact our citizens, and it's nice to see that number going down. In terms of MCM, SOR, and by class, so far year to date, We have 7 MCM completed, 5 SOR, and 10 byclass, and that's pretty consistent with what we had last year. So the officers are doing a good job making sure that those forms and those reports are completed, and Nick manages that portfolio to make sure that they're done correctly and that they're being submitted on time. Social media posts, again, we had some good response there to a missing person, and that really is what drove the numbers up in August, sorry. For a total of the year, same as pretty much on par with last year with less posts. So people are really looking at our social media and in particular Facebook. And we certainly monitor that to look at the feedback that we get from the citizens in terms of some of the stuff that we post, and also respond to some of the questions that they may have about a particular topic that we post on there. And both Nick and I take a look at that and manage that. Clearance rates for the property crime. So far, we had 10 incidents in June, 9 in July, and 11 in August. 121 total incidents, 21 have been cleared for a ratio of 17.4%, which is below what we had last year in terms of clearance. And also it's a significant increase. So we are going to be looking at that to see what's driving those numbers up and how we can plan for next year in order to see a reduction strategy that we can put in place to see some of the property rates go down. School visits, obviously no activities in schools. We are going to take a look at moving forward as we get into September, and because we do have that local funding that we received from the government, moving back into schools with our officers on delivery of the VIP program. So one of our officers, Nicole Sabol, she sort of is taking carriage of the VIP program. So I'll task her, or Nick will, with getting back into the schools and looking at arrangements to see if we can continue delivering that program for the 2020-21 year. Trouble with youth, we had 1 in June, 4 in July, 3 in August, for a total of 29, which is on par with what we had last year, so no issues there. Situation meetings, same thing, 4 in June, 4 in July, and 4 in August, for a total of 23. And so far, we only had one situation. Primarily, it's the St. Thomas Police Service and St. Thomas community as a whole that has most situations that are brought forward to the table. Unsolved follow-ups, officers are really doing a good job on making sure that the incidents that they investigate initially are followed up, and we track that through our daily activity report. So for the month of June, we had 49 follow-ups done. Month of July, we had 73, and 75 in August, for a total of 267 in comparison to last year when we had 82. So that's really working well for us, and certainly the citizens appreciate when they get a follow-up call from the officer on a particular crime that they reported earlier. So that's working really good for us. Provincial offenses and speeding, again, good job being done by the officers on enforcement side of things. June, we had 80 traffic tickets issued, 2 liquor, 8 other. July, 128 traffic, 3 liquor, and 17 other. And in August, we had 98 traffic, 2 liquor, and 25 other. Total for the year, we're at 671 for traffic enforcement, 17 for the liquor, 148 for other, and relatively on par to what we had last year. But again, COVID had a bit of an impact on our enforcement just because we didn't want to have our officers exposed to anyone in the community potentially at a risk of infecting the officers with COVID. Road safety, rides have resumed. Again, July, we had 34 ride checks, 1,437 vehicle stops, and 7 warnings. In August, we had 14 ride checks, 407 vehicle stops, 6 have been warned. And for the month of August, we had officers during ride checks administered 2 roadside tests. Impaired driving charges, again, when you look at the statistics this year compared to last year, we're almost double. And again, that was one of the focus things that Nick and I wanted to achieve this year, is getting the officers more engaged on impaired driving prevention in our communities, not only in the town of Aylmer, but just slightly on the outskirts, because people do try to avoid the town sometimes. So the officers do get a nod impaired that's just on the outskirts of town, which is good, because it's all about prevention. So month of June, we had 2. Month of July, we had 4. And August, we had 1 person arrested for impaired driving, for a total of 21 charges in comparison to last year when we had 12. Use of force, no reports have been submitted. In prisoners processed, we had 6 males, 1 female, no youths. 1 was held in for a bail court, and 6 have been released. And looking at it from last year, it's pretty much on par to what we had this year. So no issues there. No training has been done July, June, or August. We will resume training, and Nick has been making arrangements with St. Thomas Police Service to complete our block training for this year. I believe we have 4 or 5 officers that still need to get their training completed. And I've been reporting to the province on making sure that the officers will be compliant by the end of October on all their use of force training. And that's certainly the goal of the province as well, to make sure, due to the suspension of training, that the officers who miss the training are properly trained on all aspects of use of force. Budget I already talked about. We're in really good shape there. In fact, if you look at our comparison to last year, we were at 62% spent. This year we're at 60% spent, and that combines the total between the Police Services Board and the police budget. So again, we're in good shape there. Just some of the noteworthy incidents that I want to bring to your attention for the month of August. Officers investigated 1 sexual assault and 1 aggravated assault related to a domestic incident where a male received a laceration to his hand and had to be transported to hospital for treatment. For the other platoon, officers investigated a fraud incident involving Kijiji, where a side-by-side ATV unit was fraudulently obtained. We ended up following that up and identified the person responsible, and he has been charged, and he is from York Region. Again, really good news story in terms of criminal charges. 21 criminal code charges have been laid by the officers in August. And again, I mentioned the training that will resume in September to make sure that the officers meet the adequacy standards relative to use of force and defensive tactics. And that's my report, Madam Chair, with respect to crime stats, unless somebody has any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the chief on this? I'm going to stop sharing here. Okay, any questions on the reports? Okay. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that?
Yes, that the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts the reports items A to F of the September 9th, 2020 agenda.
Okay, mover Pete and seconder Toby, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to the incoming correspondence. There is a bunch. So of course, the expectation is everybody reads through these. Is there any that anyone would like to bring to the table for discussion?
Through your matter, Madam Chair, I did make a note of some of the items that relate to us and that the Police Services Board should be made aware of.
Mhm.
COVID-19 data. It is accessed only for the purposes of officer safety. I know that's a concern for the province. Who has access, who obtains access, and what is it being obtained for? And certainly the initial purpose of having that data available was strictly to ensure officer safety when they're responding to calls in our community of potential exposure. And certainly in cooperation with St. Thomas Dispatch, that's the only reason Aylmer Police Service accessed that information. And that was all done through St. Thomas Dispatch Service.
Okay.
In terms of Pascal's decision on ensuring that the information is related to potential witnesses in criminal cases of any prior convictions, that direction is followed, and we established a protocol with the Crown Attorney's Office for the disclosure of criminal records for witnesses, and that's being managed very well by our court officer. Unless Nick, you've got some further you want to add to that.
Yeah, that's fine. Our court officer is handling that, but it's also the supervisor level. When the court brief comes to them, they're making sure that there and that Jamie follows through with the checks on any witnesses.
Okay.
Continue on. Courts are now open for business on some things. Obviously, they're still doing the bail hearings by way of teleconferences, which is really good. I mean, they should have been doing that all along anyways. I know that's something that provincially has been established in the past, and it works very well. So that's working good for us. And they're also talking about potentially having officers testify. We have set up a room in our office to have the officers available to be able to testify virtually as opposed to having to attend court. We haven't had to do that yet, I don't think, and but it is something that's available and something that obviously the courts will be exploring moving forward, depending on which way the current pandemic drives that. Provincial grant, we are looking at making an application. It's very specific as to what we can apply for. And the one area that we're going to explore, which we submitted to in the past, is for sexual assault investigations and harassment type incidents. So I do have one of the officers who is going to put the proposal together for us. She's also in charge of the domestic violence and is fully knowledgeable on what we need to put together. So she'll put it together. Nick and I will review it, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Court processes, security is one of the things that we share with OPP and St. Thomas Police Service. That is going to continue. The grants for cost recovery have been approved, so we will be asking for that. And we'll be dedicating a resource to that detail, same as before. And from all of the correspondence that was there, those are the points that I felt the board should be brought up to speed on. And unless anybody has any other questions or any other topics that they've looked at that you want me to clarify, then I can certainly do that.
Was there any further clarification comments on any of the incoming reports? My camera's acting up, so okay. There's a lot to read there. Bobby, do you have a resolution for us for that, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board adopts correspondence items A to double V of the September 9th agenda.
Okay, could I get a mover? Bill, seconder, Pete, and all in favor?
Okay, that's carried. Thank you. So now, we just need to move into closed session for personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or a local board employees. Bobby, do you have a resolution for that, please?
That the Aylmer Police Services Board do now adjourn to closed session at 6:04 p.m. for the matters of personnel and identifiable individual, including municipal board or local board employees.
Okay, I need a mover. Toby, Bill, all in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Okay, give me just a second. I am going to stop recording here.